sustainable means that we're maintaining the status quo, and regenerative means that we are making reparations, reconciliation for the damage we've done in the last few hundred years in the way that we've been farming. We're at the Regenerative Farmscape Design pre-conference track of the PASA 2020 conference that's being held in Lancaster. And today we're sharing what we're doing at the Horn Farm in terms of weaving the wild spaces and the farm spaces together by regenerating the ecological habitat. The farm is owned by York County and they lease it to us, and in 2016 they agreed to put the farm in a conservation easement so it's permanently preserved as a farm. And our lease was extended to 99 years. So at that point, the board and the staff started working together to create a vision for what a regenerative farmscape would look like. This is a dream come true for me. I went to my first PASA conference 20 years ago, and I was looking at becoming a farmer at that time. I took a beginning farmer training workshop, a full day pre-conference track like this one. So, and then over the years as I went to PASA conferences, I thought someday I'd like to be a presenter. So today's the day that we got to bring the Horn Farm to the PASA conference. The way that we are doing experimentation and creating models that we can demonstrate solutions, we want people to copy us. We want to share this. And so the conference becomes a place where this can happen, where we can all be doing our experimentation in different locations and bring back what we've learned so we can expedite each other's success in recovering our ecological relationship with the land. As part of our introductions, we were talking to people about where they came from and why they chose to attend this particular workshop. And usually it was somebody who had a similar situation in that they were trying to rehabilitate a farm that had been in corn, wheat, soybeans, the same sort of crops that we've been having here at the Horn Farm, just that we started 10 years ago transitioning to other crop production systems. So we knew that we could share what we were doing in different areas of the farm and it would be useful to people. We started with a look at regenerative practice that we're using to attain rapid reforestation in the Miyawaki plots. So we were able to demonstrate a typical planting pattern, planting method that's considered best management as a control plot, and then contrasted that with the growth rates that we're getting in a closely spaced deep bed preparation for those plants, and the growth rates were 6 times what the ones were in the standard plot. So we were able to talk about that, why that happened, about mycorrhizal networks, about the underground communication systems and resource sharing, and also about something called quorum sensing, which is when a plant, lentils for example, there's been research done specifically on lentils to show that if they are interspecies, close spacing, will get more growth and productivity in a shorter amount of time. So we moved from that to looking at the woody ornamental sections, one of our agroforestry systems that we planted this year, which includes a willow coppice. So we were able to show what a coppiced stump of a willow looked like and talk about how it will regrow and will have a continual growth of that crop. So we're moving to a perennial polyculture, which means that we have multiple species growing together in the same space, and we're showing why we're doing that. Then we moved to the stream corridor, looked at our beaver dam analogs. We're building lean-to dams with materials we find here on the farm, primarily black locust logs and ailanthus logs. And we're building these structures which in the stream, incised streams, so we have a lot of erosion in our streams because of how much water comes down through those very straight corridors during rain events. By building these dams, we slow the water. When you slow the water, it precipitates the sediment and it decreases its erosive capacity. So they're fascinated by this. All of them have places on their properties where they can do this. Some people are already doing it and finding that this is a much faster, more efficient, more cost-effective way of doing the same thing. So from there, we moved into the forest space to talk about how we're starting to rehabilitate the degraded forest, removing the vines. And then we moved back down into the more cultivated farm fields that Andrew manages. And we started with a mulberry hedgerow that kind of marks the transition from the perennial systems into the more annual systems. Mulberry is a tree that grows very easily around here. It has a high value for its fruit for humans as well as wildlife, and the leaves are very nutritious. So then we moved into the farm fields and talked about how we prepare our beds using hand tools, no herbicides, how we dig deep with broad forks, and that led to a discussion of the tools that we use. So we went to the barn and looked at the specialized tools that we're using here on the farm for this type of agriculture, very human-centered agriculture.
Every one of these activities that we engage in, we can call it a load. It's a load on our body, a load on our joints.
Andrew did a demonstration of how regenerative movement, how to maintain one's health, recover from injury, prevent injury through conscious movement of one's body. John did a presentation about the scale of permanence, which is a design method that we use, which separates out different ways of looking at the farm, moving from the more permanent, less changeable by humans, to things that are easier to change. And we do that with tracing paper on a base map, and then we combine those layers to see what patterns emerge in our decisions about where to put things in our designs. So right now all the participants are back at their tables, and we printed out maps of their farm properties, so they are applying the principles that they just learned about design to their own farms.